Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our council meeting here, the early part of May. Spring has sprung, bulk garbage is just beginning. We have a fine crowd here. We have some people who are traveling today. I'd like to welcome all my colleagues here. The Deputy Mayor sends regrets and welcome Councillor Antle, who happens to be at this moment on the road. So thanks for joining us remotely, Councillor Bill. And noteworthy to say, I think this is the first time in a public council meeting that we've had somebody who's piped in using Zoom, right? So as long as you're not the drive-through, you're paying attention, everything is good, Councillor. Thank you so much. All right, so let's get the meeting started. We have many proclamations and many new faces and familiar faces here in the room. So on a motion, thank you of Councillor Lane and second by Councillor Fry to adopt the agenda. Everybody okay with it? And all against, and that is voted in. So you have the agenda. I'm going to read the lands acknowledgement as we begin our meeting. And we begin today's public council meeting by respectfully acknowledging the province of Newfoundland and Labrador as the ancestral homelands of many diverse populations of Indigenous people, including the Beothuk, who have contributed to 9,000 years of history on the island of Newfoundland. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people. We acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. We honor this beautiful land together as we strive for collective healing and true reconciliation. All right, Council. Public Council minutes for April 23rd are before you, before we ask for adoption. Is there any errors or omissions, Council? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion, and that is moved by Councillor Antle. Thank you, Councillor Antle, and also second by Councillor Rice that we adopt those minutes. All in favor? And those against? Motion carried. Thank you. Any business arising, Council, from the minutes? Please quote the item number in the action report or in the minutes themselves. Council, there is no doubt that this time of the year is proclamation time. And many proclamations occur, during the year, but spring and summer are the most popular times. And our proclamations run the full gamut of everything that's going on in our community. And it largely reflects the results of many of our volunteers and also the support that family and friends provide to people with illnesses or other challenges. Our first proclamation is MS Awareness Month for May of 2024, and I'm happy to say that we have a resident here who's no stranger to the chamber, Zita Kavanaugh-Taylor. Zita, would you like to come up and join us as we read the proclamation? And I hope I can coax you into making a comment or two. Just to check in, Councillor Antle, can you hear okay? All right, thumbs are up. Good to see you, by the way. You too. Multiple sclerosis is a chronic, unpredictable, and often disabling, demyelinating neurological disease affecting an estimated 1 in 400 Canadians, or approximately 90,000 people across our country, as well as their families, friends, and employers. And whereas MS symptoms vary widely and may lead to problems with numbness, coordination, vision and speech, fatigue, as well as weakness, mobility issues, and even paralysis. And whereas in the early stages, people with MS often experience mild, non-specific symptoms such as fatigue, depression, and pain, which are often misunderstood and may lead to delayed diagnosis. And although there is no known cure, with early drug therapy and proper healthcare management, disease progression can be slowed, helping people with MS to live active, rewarding, and productive lives. The Smiling Warriors of Newfoundland and Labrador is a local nonprofit group of volunteers based in Mount Pearl, I might add, dedicated to raising awareness of MS, supporting and advocating for people living with MS in Newfoundland and Labrador. And whereas increased awareness and public education not only enhances the quality of life of people living with MS, but also stimulates funds for vital research aimed at developing more disease-modifying treatments and ultimately a cure. And whereas the dedication The dedication and commitment of the supporters and volunteers makes this possible. Therefore, I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues on council, we do hereby proclaim the month of May to be MS Awareness Month here in the city of Mount Pearl. And I'm going to sign that, Zita, and give me a chance to grab a glass of water. And would you like to speak to it? And I know you will speak from the heart.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I live with multiple sclerosis. I got diagnosed in 2010, but I had it longer than that. It's just that it appears more noticeable. And by the research and doctors and everything, then they were able to diagnose the multiple sclerosis. Today I stand here and I walked up here, but in 2010, I could not walk. I did not think I was ever going to walk again. But with determination, good research, and the wonderful doctors we have, the specialists, the neurologists, our Miller Center down there, and Dr. Craig Moore, our other researcher, and Dr. Michelle Plaum. With all that, I was able to get back on my feet again. MS is different for everybody. We're all got the same symptoms, but we live it differently. We do. Some people have worse days than others, and sometimes you have good days. But when COVID hit us, we didn't know what other way to go through living with MS and still being able to be in our MS community. So I organized and created Smiling Warriors. Smiling is the myelin that's on our brain. That's just like a wire covering, and the wire covering comes off. That's it's like. That's a simple term for it. And that's where we came up with it. And we made our own flag, and we bought MS home to our own province, to Newfoundland, Labrador. We are with, MS Canada does wonderful things for us and does research programs and everything. But when you can make that phone call, you want somebody on the line to answer the phone or get back to you that say, I know what you're going through. I'm living with the disease. And when you hear them words, it makes a big, big difference. It do. So when you can say to somebody, you can come into my home office, my little space I got made here, and talk to me, or we can meet for a coffee and you can talk to me. When you could actually reach out to the person and hug them because they just want someone to listen to them, and they don't know where their life is going. When you get diagnosed with MS, you don't know where your life is going. My youngest child was 2 years old when I got diagnosed. He's 15 now, and he's a very big volunteer in the community. And my oldest child, she was 13, and she's 27 now. So she's in the health field now. She became a nurse. But you just want somebody to be able to say, I understand. You do. And your family, your community, everybody tries to understand and does their best to understand. But until you walk in someone's shoes, you don't really know, right? You can't. But when you meet that person that say, I could not walk. My legs wouldn't let me go. MS did this to me. Oh, yes, when, I get the tingling and numbness, then they can relate to it. That's where we came up with Smiling Warriors. And that's why we promote Smiling Warriors for Newfoundland and Labrador. And because St. John's, it's in our Newfoundland here, that in St. John's, we got the health science with the neurologists. So out in the ports, they don't have all of that. So they get the support from us and that. So that's how we came up with it. And must say, it's since COVID, so very proud of it. It's a few years now. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. We do a lot of things. We'll meet for coffee. We'll go and have Zoom. We have a Facebook and a Twitter account if you want to check us out. Small and Warriors and NL, that's what it's called. And anyone can join it, family members, caregivers, anything can join it. And yeah, and also on the MS part, coming up on May 11th, if anybody got dogs, cats, rabbits, whatever he wants to take, any furry ones. If you don't have furry little animals and you just want to walk, you can. Small and Warriors never created this. I created this on my own because Small and Warriors don't, we're a support group. We're a local support group. We don't raise money. But I created Pause for MS. So I created that, must be into its 10th year or more now, with critters and things from here in Mount Pearl, the pet store here. And we got together, we created it, and I know Giselle Council is always there with us. And it's May 11, come walk your dog, walk your cat, walk yourself if you don't have an animal. And what we do is we get asked for a $10 donation. This year, we're actually partnering up with mental health. And we choose mental health to come on board with us and give our donations to mental health, because mental health do affect multiple sclerosis big time too, just like any other illness like cancer or any other illness it do affect. Well, it do affect MS too. So we figured we'll pair up with mental health. So this year you'll see at our walk, mental health volunteers with us too there. And so all we're hoping for is, can you order the good weather for us? So we're just hoping for the good sunshine, but we're after walking in a lot of other rainy, wet weathers, haven't we? Yeah. So that's our time, and I like to thank council, because council have been very supportive of us every year. Like, I'm sure they wait for my email to come through. Season, yeah, here she is. But no, they have been very supportive, always been very supportive. They lights up City Hall for us when we ask them to. They do anything they can do for MS there. They're always there, but they're always there to support us for everybody in the community. I find Mount Pearl Council supports everything. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Zita, and you always represent the MS awareness theme very well. Good to see you. Councillor Antle, I think, wanted to comment. Go ahead there, Councillor.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you very much, Zita. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I was just thinking as you were chatting, every group needs a Zita Taylor. And you forgot to thank Dave. Dave's certainly there for every minute of the day also. But Zita, one thing I must say, I met you 7 years ago. Most of us on council knew you through council, right? You do increase the awareness of multiple sclerosis. Without you, we are all learning about it. We know the effects and how we can help, right? But I think as you keep on going, the things that you do for that society is fabulous. I know most of your members, and they would be lost without you. They certainly need you, and I think you all enjoy each other. And thank you for everything you do, Zita. That's it.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Councillor Lane, I think, had her hand up, and then maybe we'll do a picture.
Hi, Zita.
Hi.
I just wanted to say thank you for being here again this year and sharing your personal experience and your story. And Zita, I mean, you're no stranger to Mount Pearl. Your whole family is so involved in the community and volunteering and helping wherever you can. So thank you for all that you do. And Zita, I'm sure there's so many people who have been impacted by you and Smiling Warriors. Because one thing about you, Zita, and I can say this with absolute certainty, is that if anybody needs you, you will be there for them and you will be their advocate. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being here again this year. And thank you for bringing awareness to MS.
Thank you for the kind words. Thank you. Well, I would have had more of my people here with me, only for the all other had other commitments. And even my son had 15 had other commitments. So my husband's gone with him.
All right, well, let's do a picture. Anybody else? I just want to make sure. And just to note, just an incoming message, City Hall will be lit red tonight.
Yeah, I seen it coming in there.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, the next proclamation we have is for the Huntington Society of Canada, and I'm pleased to welcome to our chamber. We have Jamie Thornhill and Lorraine Thornhill. Would you like to join us? Jamie and Lorraine are both members of the Huntington's Society, I think it is, of Canada. Welcome, folks, and I'm sure you'll be able to share some of your personal journey with us momentarily. Whereas Huntington disease is a hereditary neurodegenerative illness with physical, cognitive, and emotional symptoms for which there is no cure. And whereas 1 in every 7,000 Canadians has HD, as it's known sometimes, and approximately 1 in every 5,500 is at risk for developing the disease. Many more are touched by HD as a caregiver, family member, or friend. And whereas HD causes cells in specific parts of the brain to die, the disease leads to incapacitation and eventually death. It is likened to experiencing the symptoms of ALS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and schizophrenia, all in one disease. And whereas Huntington Disease Awareness Month reflects the Huntington Society of Canada's vision, which is to aspire to a world free from HD. The Huntington Society of Canada's mission is to improve the quality of life for those affected by the disease by delivering support services, providing educational resources, increasing awareness, advocating, and investing in promising research. And whereas HSC, which is the Huntington Society of Canada, whereas HSC works with health and social services professionals to enable them to better serve people living with HD. Therefore, I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues on council, we do hereby proclaim the month of May as Huntington Disease Awareness Month here in the city of Mount Pearl. And I'm going to sign that proclamation. And I'd like to invite the Thornhills, once I get the mic prime for you there, folks. I'll pass it over to you, Jamie. But thank you both for coming.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Mine's going to be short and sweet. So just a quick fact about Huntington's. Currently in Newfoundland, Labrador, there's 50 people confirmed with the disease, my wife being one of them. 75 on the radar, I guess you want to call it. So 75 people in Newfoundland, Labrador is not a whole lot. Not many people know what Huntington's is. So May 25th, we're having a walk at Kitty Vitty to raise some awareness and some funds. And so if anyone's available, May 25th, 11 a.m. That's about it for me.
Well, you speak
Not my
you speak from
forte.
the heart, but I think it's really important. What I observed is you share in this journey together, and family support of your community, your larger community, goes a long way, I guess, to giving you the confidence that what the Huntington Society aspires to will be achieved. We don't know when, but we'll keep working together to make that happen. Council, anybody want to join in for the time being? No? Why don't we do a, yeah, you wanted it short and sweet. I think they got the message, which is cool too, right?
Not my forte, to get up and speak.
Why don't we, well, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Lorraine, good to see you again. And why don't we get a picture and we can help promote awareness through our social media channels. Okay, thanks. Lorraine, you want to get in the middle? Sure. Lorraine. Thank the Thornhills for coming by, and we're going to turn now to another proclamation, and this is from Melanoma Canada. I have a name here, Bev Corrigan Barber. Bev, not come on down. Would you like to join us? And I know you have a great group of people with you. And maybe at the end of the proclamation, you can introduce them because you all have similar T-shirts on, but of different colors. So I don't know what the significance of the colors, but I'm sure you can explain what that means to you and what that means to the larger community. So skin cancer is the most common of all cancers, with over 80,000 cases of skin cancer being diagnosed in Canada each year. And more than 5,000 of these are melanoma, the deadliest form of skin cancer. And whereas the #1 preventable risk factor for the most common forms of melanoma and skin cancers is overexposure to damaging UV radiation. And whereas May is Melanoma and Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and whereas Melanoma Canada is a national nonprofit organization that advocates for and supports Canadians living with melanoma and skin cancer by providing helpful resources, education, psychological support services, and more. And whereas in the month of May, Melanoma Canada will host its 15th annual Strides for Melanoma Walk to raise funds to support the skin cancer community and awareness of the importance of early detection and prevention of melanoma and skin cancers. Therefore, I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues, we do hereby proclaim the month of May as Melanoma and Skin Cancer Awareness Month here in the city of Mount Pearl. And I sign that, Bev. On behalf of council, I welcome you and your fine friends and maybe family and multicolored T-shirts. But I must say to you personally, I do see a dermatologist, and I think that's really important at the end of the day. And in fact, I had a little bit of work done today. And there's no sense hiding it because I think that sets an example, you know, sometimes for everybody else. But Bev, would you like to comment on, say, your personal journey and some of the support people you have here?
Good evening. I would like to first thank Mayor Aker and the city of Mount Pearl for this proclamation. It's very dear to me. 5 years ago, when I was diagnosed with melanoma, a very, very small fleshy mole on the side of my leg, it was removed. My doctor actually was hesitant, didn't think it was anything. It was that minute. We were both shocked to learn that it was melanoma. I thought that it was removed and that was it. I was sadly mistaken. And the journey for the past 5 years has been exactly that, a journey up and downs. I promised myself that I would do what I could to help others not go through what I went through. I promised that I would bring awareness to prevention and early detection of melanoma. And I stand before you with a great group of support people to say that we are indeed accomplishing that. This is our 5th year for hosting the Strides for Melanoma. It has grown immensely. It takes place on the Southern Shore. Unfortunately, it is on the 25th of May, the same day as the walk for the folks ahead of me. I welcome any and all of you to join us on this walk. It will prove to be a great afternoon of fundraising, of bringing awareness. We also have had a 50-50 draw, and we've been out into the community selling these tickets. And I was sad to learn how many people have lost their lives to melanoma, young mothers leaving children behind. The stories that we've heard in the community proved the point that what the work that we were doing is very important. Early detection and prevention is the key. Melanoma is 80% of all melanomas are preventable. Our UV rays are getting stronger. Most of us come from an era when sunscreen wasn't a thing that we did. We would be in the soccer fields, wherever. And now it's coming back to show us that we need to really start taking care of ourselves. Here with me today, I have a great group of people have been with me from day one and continues to be with me. My best friend, Heather Murphy, her husband, Kevin, their son, Bradley, their daughter, Allison, and a very special person also, Shane Mann. I wouldn't be as strong as I have been without that force behind me, and I thank them. But again, I've brought with me some mole checkers. I want all of you to take it, and I'm going to give Councillor Fry the privilege of distributing them for me. Take them. If you see something that you're not certain, have it checked. You're better to say it's nothing than to just ignore it, because melanoma does spread very quickly. It will spread throughout. For me, it was to the lymph nodes first. I did receive treatments. I won't go on any further. But yeah, so stay informed, take care of yourselves, use these mole trackers. And again, I thank you so much.
No, thank you very much for sharing your journey. You're a big example of courage. And I love to hear the story, especially the story part of the support you get from friends and family. And that's what it's like to be working in this community, is we support each other to make our lives better. So if in some small way declaring this proclamation helps your cause, gets the message out, increases fundraising or awareness, we're happy that you joined us here today. Council, any comments? Councillor Fry.
Hi, Bev. Thank you for coming in. Thank all of you for coming in. Melanoma is something that I think we all heard of and we all know of, but we really don't know of. When you're talking about getting a mole checked, how do you know when it's, because for me, I mean, I have moles all over my body, but how do you know when it's something that is of concern and should be checked further? Because I know a lot of people are hesitant to make an appointment to go to a doctor, afraid to say, well, that's just nothing, that's silly. But we should be doing that. So what are some things that we should look for?
So on these mole trackers, Councillor Fry, you'll see there's a list here of the ABCs, Ds of a mole, and it will show you, it'll indicate there exactly what to look for. There's a little hole here for the size, the diameter, the asymmetric, the color change. And this is a guide. I still can't stress enough that if you see something new on your body that you don't like or you haven't seen before, again, mine was a very tiny, fleshy mole. Like it wasn't even a brown mole. It was almost like more of a skin tag, which was removed. I wasn't going to, it should never have returned in the same place. 2 years later, it did return in the form of a lump under my skin. I thought it was scar tissue. My dermatologist picked up on it, had it removed, and I was diagnosed then with metastatic malignant melanoma. So I'm constantly being checked. Um, but again, to answer your question, these are a great guide to go by. Anything on Melanoma Canada, there's tons of information there that you'll find beneficial. But again, if there's something that's you're not comfortable with, please have it checked.
Is this card, is that available online for anybody who may be watching who won't have access to it?
These are sent to me, and I will have a ton of them at my walk on the 25th. Come to the walk. Yeah, absolutely. But I will check on that for you. I guess we could probably list it there of somewhere else we could get them. But I will definitely have a lot of these available at the walk at 16 Old Witless Bay Line.
Well, that's why they invented scanners too, right?
Exactly.
Thank you, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. Beverly, thank you for coming in, and we really appreciate you coming in and sharing your story. And I don't think it. And you hit the nail on the head when you said years ago. I mean, we didn't even know what sunblock was, and I grew up several years in the in the early '80s, and we beat the pad. There's no such thing as putting sunblock on, stuff like that. But it doesn't really, I guess, hit home until someone in your family is personally affected. And we've had a case in two cases in our family actually, and my mother actually and her sister. So and lucky enough, both of them detected it early, but it was cancerous, and one of them had to get treatment actually, and the other didn't. So it's certainly the awareness out there is really important, and to spread the news and make it how important it is to wear sunblock, because we'll go out, like I'll go out in the back of my backyard, and my wife will say, have you got your sunblock on? And my kids are constantly reminding, I think the generation now, younger generation are reminding us how important it is to wear sunblock and wear a hat and have your arms covered, even though we don't get no big amount of sun in Newfoundland, but the UV rays are so strong. So thanks for coming in and sharing your story. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, folks, I think it'd be nice to have the crowd come up for a picture, right? This is gonna look like an audition for Family Feud, but yeah, let's do it, right? Come on.
So the shirts do represent the yellow is volunteer. At our walk, people will wear yellow, and they know to go to the yellow people for anything. Bradley and Shane, actually, I worked with them through Special Olympics and trained them. So they are part of my team, and we've trained in running those. And poor old Kevin here, he gets the blue as he helps parks the vehicles.
Okay, folks, there's two proclamations and they're a little bit to do with the city of Mount Pearl and organizations similar to us. And one is in the public works theme and one is the more general theme of municipal awareness. I'm going to read two proclamations. We don't have anybody from the outside attending. And then what I'd like to do then is I'll ask our CAO to kind of respond, and then council and anybody else who wants to speak up can. But we're very proud to work in a city that holds public works very high in our minds, and very proud of our reputation in terms of delivering municipal services. So let's start with the proclamation as it relates to National Public Works Week. And I want to welcome Corey over there, who's filling in today for Director Dalamont. So good to see you, Superintendent. Public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. These infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. Sounds like we just read out a budget item, didn't we? And it is certainly not cheap to run a city. Whereas it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children in Newfoundland and Labrador to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2024, it marks the 64th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the Canadian and American Public Works Association. I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues here on council, we do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th to the 24th as National Public Works Week in the city of Mount Pearl. And I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the Canadian Public Works Association and government agencies in paying tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. And I've signed that proclamation, Council, but I'm going to jump right in first to Municipal Awareness Week. So we have 2 weeks. They're not back to back, I don't think. There's a week in between. So Municipal Awareness Week is May 5 to May 11. And whereas municipal government is responsible for the provision of services that enhance the quality of life of its citizens, and whereas dedicated mayors, councillors, and staff are essential for the effective governance of their municipalities, and whereas collaboration, partnerships, and citizen involvement are essential for active, sustainable, and vibrant communities. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize and encourage the contribution of all who work diligently for the improvement of our municipalities. Therefore, let it be proclaimed that May 5th to the 11th of 2024 may it be known as Municipal Awareness Week in municipalities of Newfoundland and Labrador in recognition of the vital role of municipal government and in recognition of all those efforts that support it. We do hereby proclaim Municipal Awareness Week here in the city of Mount Pearl. And I know you'll see there some of the sponsoring organizations like the Professional Municipal Administrators, Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, as well as the government and the Minister of Municipal and Provincial Affairs. And I would ask our CAO, and I want to start off, CAO, by saying, Councillor Fry and I attended today the AGM of the Airport Authority. And one thing the chair and the CEO both said was how the airport operates, how responsibly it's managed, and talked about all the employees that make it happen. And when we look at National Public Works Week, or we look at Municipal Awareness Week, I think at the end of the day, I work with a great council, we're good policymakers, we're good at providing direction, but at the end of the day, we deliver some fine services, whether it be public works or otherwise, through our municipal organization. But a big congratulations, CEO Spurl, to you and all the staff that contribute in so many ways to making this city a great place to work, as well as to live and play. And also, I think the organization has a good reputation for excellence. Would you care to comment?
Thank you, Mayor. I hope we have a good reputation for excellence. It's what we strive for. So the second week of May every year, the provincial government, MNL, and the professional municipal administrators celebrate Municipal Awareness Week, and its intent is to highlight the programs, the services that municipalities offer. And for us who work in the sector, hopefully it will highlight some of the great opportunities to work in this sector and some of the career opportunities. And just going back to Public Works Week, to think about how far we've come in terms of, it's all about enhancing quality of life. And I'm sure Superintendent Harvey will speak to that. But, when you think about running water, flushing toilets, snow clearing, parks and everything that happens in a community and how your public works staff provide that, your municipal programs allow for that. There's a lot of great career opportunities in this sector. And in order to try to highlight that and draw some attention to it, we are having a family day on the 13th. There'll be a barbecue, there's some treats. We'll have a showcase of some of our equipment. We'll have staff there. So we're hoping that folks can get out, and we're hoping the weather will cooperate. It's on our Facebook page. And we will be launching another contest to name a snowplow. We already have Safety, the snowplow. And there's one other name, Corey, if you.
Plowabunga.
How could I forget Plowabunga? So we're hoping to add another name or two to our fleet, and the kids love seeing the plows and the name plows coming around. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll see lots of folks out to celebrate Municipal Awareness Week.
Thank you, CEO. Looking forward to it. And to you and staff, again, fine job as always in delivering our services, and a great chance now to celebrate that as we pause between the winter wrap up and the start of summer programs. Welcome, Superintendent Corey Harvey, representing the Public Works crowd here today. A very strong group of individuals. A lot of work being done in so many areas. And this is the area of the city that talks about safety and core services, things that people can't imagine, pipes under the ground, for example, and sidewalks, and that what we had always called basic community services that the city's always done a good job at. Would you like to comment, sir?
Sure. Thank you. I always say whatever goes over the ground, through the ground, comes through this office. Just to give people a bit of an overview of our Public Works Department, we have roughly 100 staff in our Public Works Department. We have rough numbers, 9,600 residential properties that require us to empty 12,000 garbage bins weekly. We do that with 3 trucks, plus our recycling. We have, for snow and ice control, we have 268 lane kilometers of road that we have to maintain. And on most of that road, we have pipes and stuff for our UTM department. In our parks division, we have 4 city parks, 60 kilometers of trailway we maintain, 50 playgrounds, 300 public garbage bins that we have to empty and keep cleaned up. In our UTM department, we have 60 kilometers of lateral water and sewer line with 140 kilometers of main water and sewer line. We have 835 hydrants we have to snow clear and maintain and paint. All this goes with daily water testing in our UTM department and other like hydrant flushing, water flushing. We have a mechanical crew that maintain over 110 pieces of equipment that goes with vehicles and other small equipment as well. And we have our animal control. And in that animal control, we have one staff member that takes care of that. And he's busy in animal control. I'll end off for the week, Public Service Week. We'll be having a barbecue for staff, and we also have some vendors coming in to showcase some equipment for the staff during that barbecue. So we'll look forward to that. And that pretty much wraps it up for.
Well, thank you very much, council. Anybody want to chime in? We live this every day, and we work well together. But it's nice to sit back and take a pause. Like I say, the timing is good. Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Your Worship. So as a retiree, I guess, from a tradesperson and a project manager and a facility manager, I'd be remiss if I never commented on, how important how important Public Works department is. It's people behind the scenes that do all the work, and sometimes they're overlooked. I worked in healthcare, and you had a bunch of tradespeople running around in the building, and you don't realize how much work is done in a facility, inside and outside, until you're dealing with engineers and tradespeople and project managers, and the list goes on and on and on. I just want to, do a big shout out to the city. Like Corey said, they got over 100 in Public Works right now, and that fluctuates up and down depending on summer staff and winter staff. But it is a vital part of the operation of the city of Mount Pearl. From snow clearing to underground. People don't see what's underneath the ground, but if your toilet don't flush, you'll know how important underground is. And it comes to all the tenders that are put out every year in the spring of the year. Hopefully, we get stuff moving, but once the pavement is dug up and the ground is dug up, we can certainly see what's underneath the ground, as well as our buildings as well. I mean, if you go up to the glacier and you take a tour of the glacier and the Summit Center behind the scenes, you can see what's actually involved in the operation of those facilities, and it's so important. So it's so important to have good staff in the city to run those facilities, and our Public Works, do a phenomenal job. So I just want to say kudos to them for all they do, and we certainly appreciate every day what they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Locke.
Well said, Councillor Rice. And my first time sitting on the Public Works Committee, it was certainly a steep learning curve. And you quickly realize the professionalism, the dedication, and the hard work. It's like, watching a movie production or a play that runs seamlessly, but you don't see all of the people behind the curtains that are making this look seamless. And that's what we have here in the city of Mount Pearl. I had the pleasure, Mayor and colleagues, of attending the Municipality Newfoundland and Labrador Symposium this past weekend in Gander, at which time this proclamation for municipal awareness was signed. And the benefit of attending these symposia is you get to meet some of your fellow council members from the 270 plus municipalities, towns, and cities around the province. And I always come away from these with this huge sense of gratitude. And it makes me realize, I know Mr. Harvey just listed off at high level the kilometers of pipes and sidewalks and pieces of equipment and our qualified staff. I always come away with this huge sense of gratitude with how blessed we are here in the city of Mount Pearl. And for the quality of services that we have here are not enjoyed by the far majority of municipalities across the province. So it's outlined here of all the people responsible, from our council colleagues to our senior staff, to all of our employees that work for the city, that make the city of Mount Pearl such a beautiful place to live, raise your family, work, recreate. So I'm delighted. I look forward to these proclamations, every year. And as Councillor Rice said, we hold a deep sense of gratitude and appreciation for the work of all the folks here at the city of Mount Pearl. Thank you, Mayor.
So what I'd like to do, with your cooperation, I want to present the proclamation for Municipal Awareness Week to you, CAO, and like everybody, including staff, if they'd like to join us for the picture. Someone will have to take it, though. Well, the paperwork's a little bit lighter up here. We have much business yet to complete tonight, and we're going to start off with committee reports next. Council, we're probably going to run out of time for a roundtable tonight, just to give you a heads up. But Planning, Engineering, Development Committee, Councillor Antle, please.
Your Worship, yes, it's a long meeting, isn't it? We have 5 here. I'll do the first couple and I'll pass it to my colleague, Councillor Rice. First one is our 2024 asphalt crack ceiling, TP 24011. The committee was advised that the tender for the 2024 asphalt crack ceiling, TP 24011, closed on March 22nd, 2004. The qualified bidder was Crown Contracting, with a bid of $87,917.50, HST included. The Planning, Engineering and Development Committee recommends that the contract for 2024 asphalt crack ceiling, TP 24011, be awarded to Crown Contracting with a bid amount of $87,917.50, and I so move.
Thank you. It is moved by Councillor Antle, second by Councillor Rice. Council, any questions? Pretty routine item here in the budget. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried. Back to you, Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. And Team 2, it's good news. It's Team Goodhue Sports Complex, our baseball outdoor scoreboard upgrade. This is for our summer games and for our baseball. The committee was advised that the request for quotation for the 2024 Team Goodhue Sports Complex baseball outdoor scoreboard upgrades closed on March 27, 2024, and 3 bids were received. The Planning, Engineering and Development Committee recommends that the contract for 2024 Team Goodhue Sports Complex baseball outdoor scoreboard upgrades be awarded to EC Boone for the bid amount of $80,489.54, HST included, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Antle, and yes, thank you, Councillor Rice, for the second. Questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? Those opposed? Carried.
And now I'll pass it on to Councillor Rice to do the last 3. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Antle, and thank you, Your Worship. Number 3, let's zoom down here for a second. We have our building and occupancy permit listing for our residential or commercial from March the 25th to April the 5th, 2024. So the Planning and Engineering Development Committee recommends that the residential or commercial building permits issued for this period, showing a total construction value of $430,400, be approved, and further that the occupancy permit list be accepted as presented. And I so move.
Okay, moved by Councillor Rice, seconded by Councillor Antle. Those 2 items be approved. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried.
Thank you, Worship. Number 4 is our permit, actually our for information purposes only, our capital project update. We have a busy season coming up now, the spring, leading into the summer and fall. So our capital project update, the following has been issued or will be issued for the 2024 construction season. Tender for asphalt and concrete repairs closed May the 2nd, and that will start, I guess, soon as the season allows. It's ongoing, that one is. Request for proposal for engineering services for design of Holden Street upgrading is due on May of 2024, this month. Request for proposals for engineering services for the design of Jackman Drive upgrading and public consultation, May of 2024. Tender for Wyatt Boulevard sewage lift station upgrades. Part of our tendering process is fall of 2024. RFP for our water storage tank that will come in on stream in the fall of 2024. Our RFP for our sanitary sewer modeling is May of 2024, and our RFP for storm sewer modeling will be May of 2024. The construction has resumed or will resume to start on the following projects. So 2024 street markings. That's our line markings and stuff like that. We have our tender awarded for that one, and May of 2024 may start earlier, or weather permitting, as always. So we always wait for the temperature, I guess, sunny weather, and just know what the weather has been like the past couple of weeks. Has been rain and fog, so we don't do any line painting at that time. So soon as the weather permits, that'll be started, and we have an engineer who's going to be on top of that with our department. Our Birch Avenue is ongoing. This one actually is, just want to make a comment on the Birch Avenue one. So most of the work is done on Birch. We're just waiting now for the asphalt plant to open the end of May, and then the paving will start down there. Farrell Drive is ongoing, a big project happening up there. Harold Drive is to start sometime in May, and Olympic Drive is to start the week of April the 29th, 2024. And that's it for our report for PED Committee. Thank you, Worship. And I guess
Just second, I think,
Oh,
Councillor,
yeah.
Councillor Locke, yeah.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Rice. Just a question, Mayor, regarding the 2024 street markings contract. I asked this a while back. We were going to look at some of these reflective markers that we could embed into the pavement for greater visibility when the lines, wear away, or for these drizzly, foggy, gray nights. And is that something we're going to pursue this season? Are we going to be looking at a pilot section for these reflective markings?
Thank you, Councillor Locke. Yes, it is something that we have within that contract. We're right now examining the quantities that are available within the budget to permit us to do some of those. There is a limited section that we may be able to do. We'll bring that forward through PED Committee and back to Council to advise you of the area that we're looking at doing a pilot on.
All right, that finishes that report. If council doesn't have any comments, so moving to the next committee report, Corporate Services, Public Works, just still on the floor, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. I'll do the first two, and then I'll pass over to my colleague, Councillor Lane. So the first one we have is our invoices for approval. You can see them in your kit there. Our invoices, the committee recommends that the following invoices be approved for payment, and you can see your amount right there. I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Rice, second by Councillor Lane. Any questions? I'll call the question. If not, all in favor, contrary-minded, and carried.
The second item is our payment register. This is for the information of council. The following payment register from April the 18th until May the 1st, 2024, totaling $284,720.30. And you can see all the amounts there in your kit coming down through, and I don't need to move that one. So I'll pass the next one over to my colleague, Councillor Lane. Thank you.
Okay, the third thing on our agenda is the CIBC Bank City of Mount Pearl $3 million line of credit. In keeping with the city's recent award for banking services contract to CIBC, the $3 million line of credit will be closed with the previous bank, TD Canada Trust, once a new line of credit has been opened with CIBC. The city has not made use of the line of credit for many years, but it is maintained as a contingency for cash flow purposes. As per the legislation, a motion of public council is required to open this new debt instrument. As such, the Department of Corporate Services recommends approval for the city to open a $3 million line of credit through CIBC with an interest rate of prime less 1%. The committee supported the department's recommendation, and approval was also supported by the Committee of the Whole at their meeting of April 9th, 2024. The Corporate Services and Public Works Committee recommends approval for the city to open a $3 million line of credit through CIBC with an interest rate of prime less 1%. And once open, the previous line of credit account with TD Canada Trust will be closed, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Lane. Thank you. And second by Councillor Rice. Any thoughts, council? We're just switching banks, basically, is the maneuver here. I'll call the question then. All in favor? And those opposed? And that's carried too. Thank you.
Next, we have the contract recommendation for dual stream recycling trucks, TP24-014. The tender for 2 recycling trucks, TP24-014, which includes the supply and delivery of 2 dual stream recycling trucks, was issued on February 26, 2024. The tender closed on March 14, 2024, and 1 bid was received from a qualified bidder, Harvey & Company Limited, for the bid amount of $1,196, $37.84, HST included. The department recommends that the contract be awarded to Harvey and Company Limited. This was recommended and supported by the Corporate Services and Public Works Committee, as well as the Committee of Whole at their meeting on April 23rd, 2024. So the Corporate Services and Public Works Committee recommended approval for the contract for the supply and delivery of two dual stream recycling trucks, TP 24014, to be awarded to the lowest qualified bidder, Harvey and Company Limited, for the bid amount of $1,196,037.84, HST included, which is within the fleet budget plan. And I so move.
Thank you. Moved by Counselor Lane, second by Counselor Rice. If we have a naming contest for these two vehicles, the first one is very, the second one is expensive. Garbage trucks are costing a fortune. But I think that's the new reality since the pandemic. And of course, this went through a transparent tender process. So, folks, we need to pick up the garbage. Any further comments or questions, council? We've been through some discussion on this already in committee. All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Those opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Okay, lastly, we have the Public Works Status Report. For roads, staff have begun the spring season with work on pothole repair, litter cleanup, sidewalk and street sweeping, maintenance hole and catch basin repairs, lawn repairs, and kiosks. Under parks, preparation for the upcoming 2024 season is underway with trail cleanup, landscape preparation work ongoing, and maintenance on sport fields. Under fleet, motor vehicle inspections on all heavy-duty trucks are ongoing, and service and maintenance continues. UTM, general calls, plugged sewers, service locates, new water and sewer service inspections, camera inspections, and troubleshooting. Water and sewer repairs, leak detection, hydrant repairs and replacement, lift station inspections and maintenance, working in conjunction with PED on capital works projects, and the water levels at Babel's Big Pond as of April 29, 2024. Council, you can see below, and things are looking good there as well. And that's it for our report this evening. Thank you.
Well delivered. Thank you, Counselor Lane. And we're going to move over now to Recreation and Community Safety Committee. Counselor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take the first couple and then turn it over to Councillor Fry to finish our committee report. The first is the Focus on Youth Awards. Our awards are going to take place this year on May the 16th at the Glacier. And I know I say this every year and probably shouldn't, but it's the highlight of my political career. I love the Youth Week here in the city of Mount Pearl. We do a bang-up job. Speaking of our staff again and the great work they do, we do a phenomenal job here in Mount Pearl to highlight the value and the accomplishments of our youth. So the big night, the awards night, again, is on the 16th of May at our Glacier. And congratulations are extended certainly to all the nominees, as well as a huge thank you to all the folks who took the time to make these nominations. The second item that I will speak to, Mayor, is the summer employment opportunities for 2024. We've had quite a few applications received for the upcoming summer positions for day camp, park patrol, and special events. And those selected for an interview are in the process now of being contacted. But we'd like to thank all of those who applied and expressed interest in working with the city of Mount Pearl. Again, they do great work over the summer. I know my grandchildren love the summer camps and all the day programs, and our park patrol play a vital role for the safety of our trail systems and other areas of the city. And of course, all of our special events are must-attend events. So that's it for me, Mayor. I'll turn it over now to Councillor Fry. Thank you.
I love that we're talking about summer. Next on our agenda is our summer day camp registration. Speaking of summer camp, registration is starting today, actually. It started today at 5 o'clock for residents and May 9th at 5 p.m. for non-residents. Now, registration is available online only. And these camps start July the 2nd and will run for 8 weeks until August the 23rd from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. And there is an early drop-off available and late pickup for an additional $10 a week. And that's it for our report this evening, Your Worship.
Well, thank you so much. The business of the city has concluded for another council meeting. I was only kidding about the roundtable, but we are running fairly long. So if we could restrict our items to, maybe one, just saying. But we're going to start tonight, even though he's not in his chair, he's in another chair. Councillor Antle, you're first tonight, followed by Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll be nice and quick. I did have 3 or 4 just to talk about because I want Councillor Locke to hear me speak for a long, long time. But anyhow, 2 weeks ago, I attended the Don Johnson Cup. And I mentioned it on a council last time about how important it was and what a facility, what a tournament it was. So I attended that tournament. I want to give a big shout out to Wally O'Neill and his crew of 30 volunteers. They were fabulous. Like, they were everywhere. Those volunteers, whatever needed to be done was done. And I never heard a complaint. I talked to many coaches. I talked to many players, and they all loved everything happening in Mount Pearl. And our staff were just fabulous. I never saw the ice look so good. Everything was fabulous. The glacier was clean. The canteen was run so well. You couldn't say nothing bad. It was a really shining example of how good Mount Pearl was. Even though the junior blades, they played so well. They never won the tournament, but I think Mount Pearl won because we showed off how Mount Pearl could run a tournament. And I think moving forward, we need to do more tournaments like this. And our hats off to our staff and our volunteers. And that's everything for me, Your Worship. I had more, but I'll leave it alone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. I got 3 small ones. I had 4 or 5 there, so I'll just cut it down to 3. First, I want to just say, there's so much happening in the city that we can stay here and comment all night. So many events on the go and so many community groups. The first one, I just want to say, I had the privilege of attending the Seniors Independence Group presented the Quilt of Valor to Wayne Connors on May the 2nd, and I attended that. And I mean, it's so heartwarming to see what those ladies do. The Stitches Quilting Group is one group that donated the quilt, and most of them are from here in Mount Pearl, and they do phenomenal work. So I just want to say big congratulations to Wayne, who served overseas, and they got a lot of there's a lot of groups out in the outports that are doing quilts for this group as well. The second one I want to mention is the Ross King Memorial Library, the evening to celebrate their 35th anniversary. A big shout out to the board, Patrick Martin and the board, and that was their just trying to find my way here now on this one. It was the Space Maker program that they, and the city donated $5,000 to that, which is great to see. And the last one I have is I want to say a big congratulations to a phenomenal volunteer in the city of Mount Pearl. She was on council for 25 years, and she recently received a award, the President's Award for Zone D with the Cadets Canada. So I just want to say a big congratulations to Lucy, and I'm sure the other 2 cadets over there are probably commented as well. But it's great to see how much work Lucy has done in the city of Mount Pearl as a councillor and now as an MHA, and she certainly gets recognized, and it's good to see her get recognized for all the work she's put in. And I just want to say, on behalf of me, a big congratulations to her for that award. Thank you.
Yep, no, well deserved by MHA Stoyles, and her volunteer work speaks for itself, and her history on council shows her dedication and service to our community. Over to you, Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to keep it brief. And like Councillor Rice says, there's so much going on in the city always. But I think one thing that's important to note is, as the weather is now seeming to, fingers crossed, getting nice out, it's important that we all do our part to help clean up the city. And the city does have kits that you can pick up to use to help collect garbage around your area. I know our school, Martin Poultry Mead, the week before last, all students and staff went outside and did our part to clean up the school ground, pick up any garbage or litter that we see around. And I also think it's important to note about people picking up after their dogs, because I've had recent residents contact me and say they've been on the trails and, there's a lot of dog feces. Now, part of that might be due to, in the wintertime, people not picking up after the dogs. And then when the snow melts, well, we all know what happens there. And our staff does go around and they do clean up the trails. But it's important that residents take their part in, if they're going for walks with their dog, we have plenty of areas where we have bags that they can utilize to clean up after the dogs. So please take advantage of that and keep the trails clean because Mount Pearl is known for its beautiful trailways. And we all want to be able to take advantage of that without having to worry about stepping in dog feces on the trails. So yeah, if everyone could just do their part, clean up any garbage you see around and clean up after your dogs, that would be great so we can all enjoy the summer. Thank you.
No, thank you. Good points. Good information. Councillor Fry is next.
Just one thing for me. I just want to remind residents that this is Youth Week in Mount Pearl. And there are lots of free activities and events taking place. If anybody is interested, it goes from there's ping pong tournaments, paint night, Hawaiian themed pool party, cornhole and pizza party, free swim, queues and cruisers pool tournament. So it's a lot of things planned, a lot of activities. And if for more information, people can visit, residents can visit our website. But I encourage all of our youth to get out and enjoy our Youth Week. It's always worth celebrating. That's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. All of mine have been covered, but I just want to highlight that this is International Compost Awareness Week, May 5th to the 11th. The theme is Compost, Nature's Climate Champion. And I know we talked about our dual collection recycling truck. It's not a garbage truck. You know, we're not taking refuge to put to the landfill, but we collect paper products in one side and our recyclables in the other side. And I do know that there's been talks around our table to look at a regional compost program. So it's just an encouragement to our residents to, you know, do some research on it. We've been composting, my wife and I and our family, for probably 25 years now. So it is doable in the city of Mount Pearl when done properly. And memory tells me from my time on Public Works, about a third of our garbage is actually compostable. So you think of the stuff that we're bringing down to Robin Hood Bay, that if we diverted would save, you know, money, energy, fuel. So composting is a good thing. That's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Good points. May is a really busy month, isn't it? And it's also a time of travel or absence, you know, for some of our staff who are hardworking, can't make it here today. I did want to say in closing the meeting, a thank you to some people who came, you know, to support the Public Works Department, Corey Harvey, as well as Recreation Community Safety, Blair Tilley. Good to see you folks, and thank you for pinch hitting here today. And the support we received, this is the first meeting that we've had a member of council come in by way, in this case, Zoom. And we've got Rob Skinner and Lisa Warren here to help us get through that, right? So once we get through one or two meetings like this, Councillor Antle, we should be fair to go going forward, right? So what is the feedback from you, sir? You can hear us loud and clear? Are we talking enough?
Everything was perfect, Your Worship. As soon as someone spoke, the camera went right directly to them. I could hear everybody perfect. I had no issues with this at all. It's a great setup. Thank you. Thank you, Rob, for doing all your extra work. I know Rob and Lisa were at this yesterday to make sure it was working perfect. And I have no issues at all. Thank you.
Yeah, I must say, congratulations. It did seem to go very, very well. And before I close off the meeting, I'd like to welcome a new staff person to the chamber and to the city of Mount Pearl. Her name is Ann Picot. She's the new and the latest executive assistant in the office of the chief administrative officer. So Ann, I know you come from a neighboring municipality, so welcome to the city of Mount Pearl. And I can promise you our meetings are not usually this long, so do not take it. This is a meeting where you've got a lot of proclamations, and generally an hour and 15 is probably the limit that we have, right? So we'll break now for supper, and then we'll go to our committee of the whole. But Ann, on behalf of council and our city, welcome to the city of Mount Pearl. Thank you so much. All right, let's get a motion to adjourn. And I see Councillor Locke and Councillor